Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are gathered here for in-house training. Myself, Neeraj Kumar, SDNC of the gspublicschool school. Today we will get some training program from our Soni Chandan sir on the topic of foundation course of literacy and numeracy. So I would like to welcome you. We will give training about that. Thank you.
Myself, Soni Chandan, PhD in gspublicschool. I have got the opportunity to present a session based on the called foundation numeracy and literacy. I do hope whatever the queries would be there, we will coordinate each other and we will discuss this issue in an efficient manner. Now proceeding on to the slide. Nipun Bharat. Foundational literacy and numeracy. This is called Nipun Bharat. The initiative of Government of India. Actually, this is the national initiative launched by the Government of India, especially on the ground, focusing the basis of National Education Policy 2020. It is a part, or you can say it is a branch related to National Education Policy. The main thing of this Nipun Bharat is national initiative proficiency in reading with understanding and numeracy. Actually, the main concept of foundational course in numeracy is understanding the literacy and numeracy with some learning effects. Or you can say learning outcomes should be there. The main focus, the main criteria, the main simulations, or you can say the schedule related to FLN is what is the learning outcome of FLN. Proceeding to the next slide, as we can see, National Education Policy 2020, what is the augmenting student learning outcomes through FLN? Recognizing the importance of early learning, the National Education Policy 2020 states that our highest priority must be to achieve universal foundation literacy. Means our priority, what was our priority in the last 2 decades, that it was going on in a traditional way of teaching, like we were doing all the teaching, copy and in a traditional manner. But nowadays, the teaching method has changed from traditional method of teaching to the competency-based education. Means the way of learning, the way of teaching, the way of getting the learning outcome has changed from a traditional mode to a competency mode. So FLN is primary school and beyond by 2025. Means the Government of India has made a target that within the era of 2025, that is from 2020 to 25, means within 5 years the government has given us a target to achieve the criteria we has made. We all are aware that in school we always used to do split up of syllabus, right? I would like to have the responses. Have we done split up of syllabus or not? Yes. So likewise, the Government of India has also split the syllabus, or you can say the pattern of teaching, or you can say the methodology or pedagogy of teaching. Like this is called FLN, Foundation Course in Literacy and Numeracy. 3 basics are there: reading, writing, and arithmetic at the foundational level. The main focus of this topic is reading, writing, and arithmetic at the foundational level is not first achieved. Now moving on to the next slide. Now see, the highest priority of the school education will be universal acquisition of foundational learning skills by grade 3. Means what is the criteria set in this FLN? Means from Balvatika. In Balvatika, according to the Government of India, the Balvatika, what we have said, pre-nursery or pre-primary or primary sections of India, from that is called Balvatika till standard 3rd. The Government of India has splitted the way of learning. They have splitted the way of teaching, learning outcomes, the way we used to do the split up of syllabus in our books. So a lot of things are there. We will be learning one by one. What is foundational literacy and numeracy? This is the basic We all are aware that in class 9 and 10 lot of arithmetic options are there. In 9 and 10 lot of vocabularies are there, passages are there, grammatical portions are there. But from where these have arrived? Actually, we have to look on the basic part, that is called the Balmatika, or you can say the primary section of the arithmetic. First of all, we have to strengthen the base of our building. Then we will be able to, get the target, or we will be able to achieve the target in a very sophisticated manner. Now, foundational language and literacy. Two parts are there. FLN. First of all, we have to be very much clear about the definition. The pre-existing knowledge of language helps in building literacy skills in language. The key components in foundational language and literacy are some criteria has been given. Oral language development. What is oral language? That is called one-to-one communication with each other. It includes improved listening comprehension. Next, oral vocabulary and extended conversation skills. Now, here as we can see that 2 or 3 parts are there, like improved listening comprehension. It means we have to increase our comprehension or interaction in a listening manner. Oral, what is the oral communication, or you can say the interaction between one person to the other person, or to a community, or to a crowd. Third is extended conversation skills, the way we interact with each other, how that thing is being delivered or it is being conveyed within the community or within the society. The experience in oral languages are important for developing the skills of reading and writing. Now, why the Government of India has given very much emphasis, or the main focus of the Government of India in introducing FLN is a student from the base part, that is from Balmatika or let us say AG or UKG. The student should be able to read the word. The student should be able to count the numbers. This we have to straighten the base. Third is reading fluency. We have to focus on fluency. One topic is fluency. In many cases, you have seen student is speaking in English, but the fluency of that candidate is not good. Fluency means the throwing of a sentence in an efficient manner. The word clarity, we have to focus on word clarity should be there. We have to focus on the fluency of the sentences, how that word, how that sentence is being delivered from one person to another person. Nowadays, we are using DJs in marriages. Why we are preferring DJs in marriages? Because the sound quality, the thing that we are listening in our ear, it is pleasing our ears. We have to follow the same pattern. English is not, is not our mother language. But as English is adopted in the whole world, as it has been adopted as a global language, we have also to adopt according to the norms of international norms. So, to compete with other competitive countries, to compete with other developed countries, we also have to focus on international language, that is called literacy. And the basic part is especially on the fluency, word clarity, the deliberation of the subject, the deliberation of the word or sentences. How other candidate or other person or other individual is getting the words. Whether the clear concept is being delivered from one person to the other person or not. So fluency, it matters how the way we will be communicating with each other. Reading comprehension. Third, how a person will be able to develop or boost somebody's fluency. First of all, we have to keep focus on reading. We teachers usually used to instruct the students just read out the books like this. It is very good practice. The more we will read, the more we will learn. So reading is also a very important part. And now, what is reading comprehension? It involves constructing meaning from a text and thinking critically about it. This domain covers the competencies of understanding the text and retrieving information from them, as well as interpreting text. And the last one is writing. This domain includes the competencies of writing, that is called aksharas. What we say alphabets in A, B, C, D. So in Kopo, Bobo, whatever the regional languages are there, we used to see aksharas like Kopo, Bobo, or whatever the thing is there. moving on to the next slide, the next part is foundational numeracy. Now we have to focus on numbers. As we can see that lot of numbers are there, like 1, 2 and 3. How a student would be able to learn the numbers? We have to follow certain rules. We have to develop certain playing techniques. Like if you teach a student by writing in a blackboard 1, 2 and 3 and 4, we will not be able to get the correct outfit of the student. So if you want to get a child learn, we can use just count by a finger. We used to give an example to student. Yes, how many fingers are there? The student used to count. Yes, 1, 2, 3 and 4 likewise. The student used to learn all these things. If we give cubic balls or balls, or if you used to say how many tomatoes are there, how many potatoes are there, how many colors are there. So if you use these kind of examples, FLN, or you can say in numeracy, the student would be able to learn the numerical part and numeracy concept in a very playing method. So Government of India especially has given a focus in FLN that instead of using the traditional way of teaching, we have to focus on a competency based education. Means we have to get the children learn by using our environmental materials like cubic balls, pencils. Means familiar home mother language. Like there is also some technique like as we are teaching right here. So if you want to illustrate some topic to a student, like if you are going to illustrate a topic like in bio or in history, like in English, the student, the output or you can say the result of the student means on a basis of understanding will be near about 50%. But if you will illustrate that example to a student in Hindi, the student will be able to learn at least 70%. But if you will illustrate that same topic in your regional language, the student will be able to learn that topic about, they will be able to learn at least 90% of the topic. The student will get 90% clear concept about a topic if that topic is being explained or illustrated in a regional language. So, the mixing of regional language in studies also gives a very good impact in studies. Number 5, to focus on continuous capacity building of teachers, head teachers, academic resources, persons and education administration. Definitely, to symbolize, to administer, to recognize or to manage all the academic work. Definitely, some professionals we need to have some professionals to look after all the work. So certain duties or responsibilities has been also given to the block level, to the district level, or some ministry has also been there. Next, moving on to the next slide, that is number 6, to actively engage all the stakeholders. Stakeholders, what is the meaning of stakeholders? It is very much similar to the shareholders. Like who is very much interested in the education field. The Government of India used to take recommendations from them. They are called stakeholders in the education, the field of education. Teachers, parents, students, community, policy, presentations, sorts, etc. Number 8, to ensure tracking of learning to all the levels of the students. Now, what is the main concept of this slide? The main concept of this slide is that the way we were teaching or our ancestors were teaching, that was called traditional way of teaching. But in nowadays, as we all know that lot of apps has been invented or it is created every day. Our child, they are more capable of using the mobile in spite of the child who born 10 years ago. We all are aware of this thing. If you ask to an older person, that person will not be able to call a person by using a smartphone. But if a child is there of UKG, that child is capable of calling somebody in a video call. Am I right or wrong? How? Because from a birth, that child has been looking on the mobile. He is very much familiar with the environment of the mobile. Everything is being done in mobile. They are watching you. Actually, they are watching your activity till the age of 5 or maybe scientifically. So till the age of 5, the human's brain is developed at least 90+%. So whatever the thing, as we, I would like to have one more example. I think we all are here, but I think 99% of we people haven't turned a page of Ramayana or Purana. But we all are aware who is Rama and who is Prophet Muhammad and whatever the our God is. How? Because we have seen that serial, we have seen that video. If you teacher will give the illustration or you will give an answer to a student, yeah, these are the process of volcanoes, eruption and all these things. Learning outcomes for foundational learning has been divided into 3 development goals. The learning outcomes for foundational learning has been divided in 3 development goals. Number 1, goal 1 HW, health and well-being. Goal 2 EC, effective communicators. Goal 3L, involved learners. Key competencies of each goal have also been identified. Now, as it is an ingenuity part, health and well-being, some structure has also been given. Effective communication, EC, it is also being displayed. Involved learners, it is also being displayed from the picture. Sorry. As we can see, this is the structure. उसको चाहिए, दूसरे क्लास उसको क्या आना चाहिए, पहले क्लास तो उसको क्या आना चाहिए, उन्होंने एक पैरामीटर फिक्स कर दिया। दिस इज FLN। अगर लिटरेचर की बात किया जाए तो ABCD में क्लास 3 तक उसको किस हद तक वर्ड का कॉम्बिनेशन आना चाहिए, कितने लेटर्स का वर्ड उसको आना चाहिए, ये है उसका FLN का मेन टारगेट। बाल वाटिका में उसको क्या आना चाहिए, ये एक रूल सेट कर दिया गया है। क्योंकि किसी स्कूल में क्या होता है कि कहीं पढ़ाई हो रहा है, किसी क्लास में ABCD हो रहा है और किसी क्लास में अलग जगह पर वहाँ ABCD नहीं हो रहा है, किसी जगह पर क्लास 1 से ABCD पढ़ाई हो रहा है, कहीं पर आप ये देखते होंगे कहीं किसी स्कूल में नर्सरी में ABCD हो रहा है। तो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने सबसे पहले क्या है, सारे स्ट्रक्चर को तोड़कर एक कॉमन स्ट्रक्चर बनाया है, जिसमें नर्सरी, LKG छोड़कर बाल वाटिका 1 2 3 एक पैरामीटर फिक्स कर दिया है जो नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के नॉर्म्स के अनुसार। मतलब ऑल इंडिया में एक नॉर्म्स चलेगा, बाल वाटिका 1 2 3 अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्टैंडर्ड, कॉमन स्टैंडर्ड अब हो जाएगा, कॉमन सिलेबस में चलेगा। यही है FLN। फाउंडेशनल कोर्स लिटरेसी यानी लिटरेसी का पार्ट, न्यूमरेसी यानी नंबर से रिलेटेड पार्ट, क्या बच्चों को आना चाहिए क्लास 3 के स्टैंडर्ड तक, वही है आप इसको देखिए। द नेशनल मिशन विल डिक्लेयर द लक्ष्य, we are going to explain the target what we will be able to achieve. The national mission will declare the overall national target in achieving learning outcomes. पढ़ा तो रहे हैं जरूर, लेकिन उसका आउटफिट क्या मिल रहा है, खाना बना तो जरूर रहे हैं, लेकिन स्वाद क्या आ रहा है, स्वाद आना चाहिए उसमें, यही है मेन टारगेट। नहीं तो वो एक खाना पूर्ति बन जाएगा। से हम लोग अगर किसी घर में हम जा रहे हैं खाना बनाना और एक होता है शौक से खाना बनाना, दोनों में अंतर है। तो ये लर्निंग आउटकम है जो हमारा जो मतलब हम जो पढ़ाई करवा रहे हैं या हम जो टीचिंग मेथोडोलॉजी या पेडागोजी जो यूज कर रहे हैं उसका आउटकम क्या आ रहा है, क्या हम सिर्फ एक खाना पूर्ति कर रहे हैं या उसका कोई आउटफिट हमको मिल रहा है कि नहीं मिल रहा है, क्या बच्चे सिर्फ ABCD होमवर्क मिल रहा है तो उसको लगातार होमवर्क मिल रहा है, बस खाली होमवर्क खाली बढ़े जा रहे हैं तो बच्चा सीख रहा है क्या, कुछ पता नहीं। राइम्स हो रहा है लेकिन राइम्स का उसका एक्शन नहीं हो रहा है, राइम्स क्या हो रहा है, हिंदी है कि इंग्लिश है, इसका मतलब क्या बच्चा को पता नहीं, हारे तोता की जैसा वो बच्चे पढ़े जा रहे हैं। So government of India they have made certain structure to schedule the whole FLN in one mode. The overall literacy and numeracy, this is the criteria, this is the most important the main slide of this whole page. Balbatika number 1. This is the basic part. Here we will be able to describe the criteria, the target, the fluency of each and every grade. Number 1 is Balbatika. Recognizes, a student should be able to recognize the letters and corresponding sounds. Sound clarity should be there. Read single word comprising of at least 2 or 3 alphabets like cat. Now talking about the numerical part, the student should be able to recognize and read the numbers up to 10. It means if arrange the numbers in a sequence. In playing, if you talk about the playing mode, like some balls are here, if you give 5-6 balls here, if you give 5-6 cubic parts here, if a student would be asked to fill a bucket with the round balls, the student should be able to pick the round balls and should be able to count the balls 1, 2, 3, whatever the thing is instructed, and the student should be able to put that ball on a bucket. This is the technique in Balbatika or whatever the thing we say in nursery or pre-primary section. Now, if you talk about grade 1, a student should be able to read small sentences. Small sentences, as we can see, of at least 4 or 5 simple words in an age appropriate unknown text. Talking about number, read and write numbers up to 99. It means a student should from pre-primary to the next standard. This is the setting of numeracy and literacy. If we talk about next grade, a student should be able to read with meaning. Means in the next stage, the student should be aware of the meaning of the word. Like wave, if you are talking about wave, what is wave? Jari, mandri ka jari. Meaning concept, the main focus we have to keep on going about the meaning of the topic or meaning of a concept. 45 to 60 words per minute. A student should be able to read a book according to the pattern of 40 to 60 words. A criteria should be fixed. Then you will be able to judge, yes, your word or kid is in a average standard. If a student is not able to read 45 to 60 words in a minute, in next grade, that student could be recognized below average. Now if we talk about numeracy, that student should be able to read and write the numbers up to 999 till 1000. You can say round about if you make a round figure of 1000, that is 999, and subtract the number up to 99. This is the next grade. If a student is able to do all these things, this is the average performance of the student. If a student is not able to give the this outfit, the student is marked or will be recognized below average. So from these kind of criteria, we are able to analyze the performance of a student. Now moving on to the grade 3, that student should be able to read with meaning at least 60 words per minute. The way the student will be promoted, we have to strengthen or we have to enlarge the strength of words and numeracy and literacy. In grade 3, a student should be able to read and write the numbers up to 9999. Means whatever the mathematical calculations are there within 10,000, the student should be aware of. Either multiplications, additions, subtractions, decimals, everything within that is less than 1000, that the student should be totally aware of. solve simple multiplication problem. This is the most vital slide of this topic. We have to keep on searching. We have to keep on, involving all the environmental materials within the study, so that the way we are doing in a traditional manner, we have to shift our pedagogy, the method of teaching from traditional to the competency. Any doubt? Till now? Next, learning assessment. Assessment means homework. Now we have to discuss about homework. Assessment is vital to track children's progress in continuous and comprehensive manner using multiple techniques of assessment. It aims at early identification, learning gaps at each foundational stage, that is at FL1, FL2, FL3, FL4, FL5, likewise in increasing manner. Children with special needs, so that there can be possibilities of early intervention through referral to specialists. Now, learning assessments. What is learning assessments? Every day we are giving homework to our students. In another form, we can see it as an assessment. How we are giving assessment? Are we just giving our, fulfilling our duty, or we are just ticking the clock, or we just having the way, like, I'm just going in 4th grade or 5th grade or 6th grade and I'm just watching. Lot of study materials or index and learning outcomes are there. Lot of playing things are there. See, the way of teaching by a teacher in a classroom. The way of reading to a student. Like I don't think that near about 50% of the teachers have seen. Now there is one movie called, I'm just forgetting the name. No. One movie is there. I'm just getting the name. Lady or Madam, some South Indian film is there. Madam Gita, very right. How much of you have seen that movie? 1, 2. I would like to have some responses based on that, or from anyone. And if any one of you haven't seen that movie, it is my humble request, please watch it once. Your way of teaching, your way of interacting with the student, your motivation, your inspirational will grow. Definitely it will grow. It is my confidence. I have seen 5 or 6 times. Still I feel that I should watch once again. It is very motivational video, very motivational. Madam Gita. Sir. Very inspirational video, very inspirational video. In that video, you will be able to know how to teach a student. The use of KLM has been shown there. Like if you want to, describe the map of India, it has been shown in that movie. That a teacher has made a map in a class, in a ground, and a teacher who is, handicapped, how she will teach. Now she has asked the student, please go to Delhi. Go to Delhi. Go to Chennai. Then go to Chennai. Yes. So likewise, student is totally unaware of the map. Yes. Now student used to search that map and used to stand just in the location of that image. Yes. So in that manner, the student is able to learn the map of India about the locations of India. This is called KLM. I want to say that in spite of using the traditional, we should focus on new kinds of teaching pedagogy. Empowering teachers. In view of the challenges of in-service teaching with teacher training across the different stages at school education, NCERT has designed an innovative integrated program of teacher training now properly known as NISTA. As we in our area, we all are also aware of two kinds of teacher training things are going on, that is called Diksha and Nishtha. Nishtha is going on in Jharkhand level and Diksha is also going on in national level. Actually, Nishtha especially belongs to the district level, state level, and Diksha belongs to the central level. So if we are going to take any kind of training, to install that Diksha, there in Diksha you will be able to complete your training in a very efficient manner. Like if 1 hour of training is there, and if you don't have the time for 1 hour, you can split that training in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Like if you will pick a topic like IT, information technology, or like AI, artificial intelligence, and if it covers more than 2 hours, you can give 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the lunch time, or any 10 minutes, whatever the time you will be getting, you can complete within that time. The moment you will complete that training or hour, you will be able to get the certificate. So apart from this in-house and CUE training, you can also complete your training from Diksha and NISTA. But there is one vital point: don't skip the page or video, because it counts till how many seconds you have read that page. If a page is displayed and normally or if you talk about an average, to read a page it takes at least 2 or 3 minutes. But if you skip that page within 5 seconds or 10 seconds in search of generating the certificate, you will not be able to get the certificate. You will not be able to create the certificate. Because the moment you will just cross the first topic, question of query will be asked you. You have to solve that query. Then you will be passed on to the next topic. Then you have to read out that topic. Then you will be asked some MCQs. Then you will proceed to the next step. But it is a part of this. You will be able to generate the certificate in a very easy manner, in a very time effective manner, according to your need or according to your requirements. School preparation model. 85% of the child's brain, as right now as we were talking, 85% of a child's brain develops before the age of 6. National Education Policy has recommended the development of 3-month play-based school preparation module for all grade 1 students by the NCERT as an internal measure to ensure that all children are school ready till universal provisioning of quality preschool education is achieved. The school preparation module SPM is essentially around 2 weeks of developmentally appropriate instructions at the beginning of class 1 designed to bolster a child's pre-literacy, pre-numeracy, consecutive and social skills. Now, as we were talking like FLN, the things that we are doing, the government of India has prepared certain modules, or you can say the split up or structure, lot of segments are there related to that. Moving on to the next approach, to bring all these things, to bring all these plannings in a flow, we need some administrative approaches. As we are all aware, or we have seen that in lot of boundaries, that a lot of slogans are written by district administrator or state administrator relating to the cutting of trees, protection of environment, planting of trees, increase in the populations. So certain duties have been assigned to the administrative part to deliver the message, to deliver the content of Government of India to the general public, so that whatever the target has been decided, that should be delivered from the root to the leaves. National mission implementing of the mechanism, as we can say from the mission, as we can say, state mission, block cluster, level missions, national mission, district mission, school management committee, and community. This is the block structure. Now moving on to the next slide. Role of various stakeholders and institutions at the mission. What is the role? What are the things that we need to play on? As India is a very large deserts in India, you will find the rainy places, tropical areas. You will find the places near the oceans. You will also find the mountain areas, the plateau areas. So actually it is a mixed culture of India is a combination of different cultures. So the role and the work tradition for each and every state becomes different in their own states. Like in Jharkhand, if your home, don't take in other sense, if your home is placed in remote areas, your child would be impressed by the locality of your area. Whatever the child looks around your environment, that child learns from the environment. So your environment, your locality, it creates a very great enlightenment on your child. It impacts your child development. That's why this is a quotation called "It takes a village." It doesn't mean town. Village means environment, surrounding, platform, criteria. The meaning of village is this. How much time, sir? Slide. I will not take so much time. Impact of FLN mission. Now, as we have all elaborated all the things related to the FLN, now we have to move on to the conclusion. Now, after implementing all these things, after taking recommendations of all these things, after using all these techniques and measures, what would be the impact? Whether the impact will go in a negative side or whether the impact will go in a positive side or whether it will be neutral. What would be the result? I am just learning, I am not getting anything. So what is the work? What is the outcome of our labor? So some assumptions has been made that these would be the impact of FLN mission. Emphasis on activity-based learning, conducts and conducive learning environment to improve the quality of the education. We will achieve the quality of the education. Since almost every child attends early grades, therefore focus on the stage will also benefit the socio-economic data advantages, thus ensuring the access of equitable and inclusive quality education. Assessment to be based on learning outcomes, it will enable children to keep them in class, thereby reducing the number of dropouts. Means, if you will create your class in an interesting manner, in a learning manner, the number of absentees in your class will reduce. The number of dropouts will reduce. Dropout means who used to leave the school, who is not interested in school. What is the reason that student is not interested in school or in a teacher or any environment? Because that student is not feeling good. But this technique is not applicable in all the classes. These things are applicable only for 1, 2 and 3 till from Bal Batika till 3. Certain structures are there from 4 to 8. Now some more changes, advanced version we have to implement from 9 to 12. So teaching methodology, teaching criteria changes according to the grade wise. Improvement in transition rate of primary to upper primary. So these are the criteria which are the main focus, or you can say the main summary of this topic is like we have to change our teaching method from traditional way of teaching to the competency based education. In spite of creating a parrot, we have to create an innovative child. This is the main part of it. So I'd like to have a revision once again. number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, this was the most vital part, 13, concept of learning, 14, 15, Nixa and Vista, 17, next, administrative approaches, we have defined clockwise and all these things. What is the role of various stakeholders, suggestions, recommendations? What is the role of your environment to develop or to enrich your child? And lastly, I'd like to have in affiliated schools or private schools, we were taking the class tests or weekly tests. But till now, I think there are 90% of teachers out here who don't know that nowadays in all the government schools, a teacher has to take a weekly test, has to submit the videography and photography to the district officer every week. It's going on in this district also. Every week, a teacher has to submit the test record, test copy to the DEO office, District Education Office. Weekly test is also there, monthly test is also going on. Means the chart is already been prepared. The teachers have to follow all the things. What is to teach on which day? Whole planning is there, and it has been provided by the District Education. Few years ago, it was going on in affiliated schools and nearby schools, or you can say the private schools. Also, but nowadays,
also implemented by
within 1 or 2 months. Very soon, the student would be able to. If I will not be getting the question, it means you haven't got anything from me.
how it will help in private school.
If we talk about private schools, from the last few decades it has been said that private schools, or you can say unaided schools, in other language we can say it unaided schools, the whole structure or management is being done by the SLCs or CMCs, School Managing Committee or College Managing Committee. But we have to straighten, or we have to look forward in a more advanced way. The way we are doing right now, we have to think beyond. Whatever the thinking, whatever the planning, if you take the example of Dhirubhai Ambani, nowadays we are using 4G. But Dhirubhai Ambani has planned that 4G 10 years ago. And he took, or that company took 7 years to implement. And now we are watching 4G and 5G. But Dhirubhai Ambani has thought that thing 10 years ago. So likewise, we also have to plan our unaided schools or private schools or our teaching methodology.
We are very glad such a experienced person has given here wonderful topic, FLN Foundation Course in Literacy and Numeracy. Once again, thank you. And he has given aware that how the government has given having the plan and mission to the literate, the all Indian children. Once again, I would like to thank you so much.